Check, check. How we doing? Check, check. Awesome. Sounds like the sound's good. Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Thank you so much for joining in the live show. We are going to be going over the macro, crypto, and stock market indicators, seeing if we can get any sort of insight or feel for where the crypto prices are going to be going, specifically Bitcoin, and that for many alts and Bitcoin mining stocks. Let's start off with fear and greed and CNN. We are down into neutral territory. Pie vesting also going back down towards neutral territory, but still up in greed. As far as the crypto fear and greed, we are still in extreme greed. So do be cautious. I'll be showing you a couple indicators I'm really keeping a close eye on as far as where the price is right now. But as we go down, we can see that over the last month, we have been high up in greed and just spiking into extreme greed. As we zoom out, we can see that we have not been this high in greed since March. And what happened in March was a local top where the price of Bitcoin and many altcoins and Bitcoin mining stocks topped before going sideways and down for the next 6 months. So part of the essential question I have for myself and all of you today, comment your thoughts below, is what do you think is going to happen in the near to medium term time frame for Bitcoin, for crypto, and all of the assets? As we zoom out, one thing that's really easy to do with crypto, and a lot of analysts in crypto do this, is that we can get lulled to sleep in making certain predictions for what crypto is going to do based off what it's done before. So we take a look at prior cycle evidence and we can make some comparisons and say, well, there was a mid-cycle top in 2019. We had a mid-cycle top around the halving this time around. And then last cycle, there was another top before a giant correction sell-off. However, that was a black swan event. So are there comparisons to be made this time around that this is another secondary top and that the true top is still coming later? Things are different every cycle, so don't get lulled to sleep in making too many predictions just based off what has happened before. But going over to the rainbow chart, we can see that we do have these cycles, and in each cycle, there are phenomena that happen that I think forces us to try to predict what will happen. And what's more important than any prediction out there is your strategy. How do you make money? What is your strategy that, regardless of any predictions, will help you reduce your risk and make more money off of things like crypto or stocks? That is what I continuously try to answer and be better at myself. So going over to the alt season index, at least on the macro time frames, you can see that we are just making a higher low. With that being said, that probably means that Bitcoin dominance is still going higher, that money in Ethereum, altcoins, all other areas of crypto are going over into Bitcoin. And we do see that happening just by what the price of Bitcoin's been doing. It has been going up over 90,000 and heading towards 100,000. We're going to be getting more into Bitcoin, its chart, and all the indicators that I've been looking at for it. And by the way, indicators I try to use the most simple indicators that anyone can understand. You've probably seen other videos talking about Elliott wave analysis and other types of indicators where you have to even memorize the 50 different types of candles and what they all mean. For the average investor, we don't really know those things, and I don't give a crap about those to begin with, because what I'm trying to do is share knowledge that any of us can understand, ways to understand when is the best time to buy and sell. I think if you can't answer those questions, or if you're relying on people on YouTube, Twitter, wherever to give you insight in when to buy or sell, I believe you're doing it wrong. So what I'm just trying to do is offer up general knowledge that we can all understand and put our brains together and say, is now a good time to buy? Is now not a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell or no? If we can answer those questions with some simple indicators, I think that'll go a long way. Let's take a look at some other macro indicators that are good to just keep in the back of your mind. One is the forward PE ratios for the stock market. We aren't into extreme overbought territory, but we're getting close. People have been talking about this as the AI bubble, similar to the .com bubble. So in that perspective, there's still room to go. However, I would say at any moment, the market could have a sizable sell-off. So do be careful. I would not be investing into any stocks myself, not financial advice for you, but I wouldn't be investing into anything with a 5 or 10 year outlook as of right now. I am personally waiting for a correction. I do think more risky assets in this type of environment can make you some money. So we do, this at best is educated gambling. We have a comment from Dr. 420. Always good to see your comments. Draw enough lines on a chart and you can predict anything. There is a meme out there, Dr. 420. I think you can Google image search it, where there's just 1,000 lines on a chart, and you are exactly correct. So we have to make our assessments, have our strategy, and then put our money with where our mouth is. So definitely at this point of the cycle, we're going to talk about where the value is. And as far as the rainbow chart's concerned, it's in the middle or upper middle. But yes, it is. That is definitely true what you're saying there. Going over to the Fed rate cut decisions, we've already talked about how we are in a non-recessionary average, at least as far as what the charts are doing. So since the rate cut, we have been trending up into all-time highs. And typically a month or two after the first cuts start, we can tell if we are getting an immediate recession or not. The way I'm looking at it is sort of like this, that because we are averaging 25 basis point cuts per month as far as right now, with inflation possibly being it still is the elephant in the room, could still be a problem, that we may still have a year or two to go as far as this secular bull run is concerned. So yes, the 50 number is scary and the Fed cut by 50, but they didn't cut in October. So over the course of 3 months since they've been cutting, they've been averaging 25 basis points. So I see more similarities with the way the stock markets acted in the 1970s as well as 1998 right here. So that is my opinion. We still have a little bit to go. This is another chart to keep in the back of your mind, that typically Q4, Q1, most bullish time of the year. However, after inaugurations, it is somewhat normal for markets to go sideways or a little bit down. And this would fit into the 4-year cycle sort of analysis, that every 4 years, you guys can see this, at least the last 3 cycles, Q4 2013, Q4 of 2017, Q4 of 2021, every 4 years, and Q4 near the end has been the top for Bitcoin, and that would mean Q4 2025 would be that top. So if you believe that, this falls into that assessment that we might see a minor local top for Bitcoin in the near term, but not quite alt season. And this fits in line with what I'm looking at with the crypto markets as well. So I know it's exciting that the markets are pumping right now. If you are new to crypto, I'm just going to caution you and take a deep breath. You're in the channel that I run, Market Psychology. I've worked in the field of psychology for over 10 years. We use emotions as an indicator. And when the news is positive, when people are feeling FOMO and the hype, that is when most people are buying local tops, and they're not seeing truly good gains for a while, because the market knows when retail is coming in. They view you as exit liquidity and dumb money. So if you are feeling that hype, that pressure to buy in now, you need to take a deep breath and be patient. So just checking your list of favorite stocks or crypto once a week for a few minutes will already give you an edge. But you got to do your research and don't just jump in without a plan. We'll get more into that. But this does fit into the 4-year cycle narrative, in my opinion. If you are also new to crypto, something to be aware of if you're looking to make bigger money, and again, this is all an educated gamble. First off, if you're looking into altcoins, mining stocks that could 5x, 10x, 20x, sounds crazy saying it out loud, but I've been in the last 2 cycles. I've made good money in these bull runs. What I will say is, as crazy as it sounds, if you are investing dollar cost averaging in when the fear is heavy, when the markets are low, that overall you can do pretty well. But I will say that each of the last 2 cycles, there have been assets I've bought where it all looked great. All the research I did looked great. But in the world of crypto, everything is sunshines, rainbows, ponies, and unicorns, all looking to solve problems that really don't exist. And you got to ask yourself, for all the crypto cultists out there, and I get why crypto is important, how often do we tangibly use any of these crypto resources in our daily lives? Let's be honest, we're using this as a way to convert money that we're putting in to these hypothetical projects in order to multiply our money. So in the 15 years that we've had crypto, the only places I've seen tangible utility has seen crypto exchange machines in third world countries and not good parts of the city or the ghetto. So I'm just being honest there. I'm not trying to FUD. I'm not saying that money can't be made, but let's be honest. The utility isn't tangible. It's still a risky tech asset. And so I think it behooves us to keep that perspective that any of these cryptos that promise all these good things might turn into crap. And I will say, I've gone back and taken a look at my list of altcoins that I researched that I liked, and only 2 of them from back here are still around today, Tron and Cardano. A bunch of the other ones that I put money into, maybe they did well here, but then they did absolutely nothing by here. And the same thing's going to happen again. The 2021 coins, maybe a couple will survive that I had money in from back here, but they won't do as well here. So it is a tricky environment, and you are, I can't emphasize this enough, taking educated gambles. In the comment section below, if there are any cryptos, altcoins, mining stocks that you like or are looking into, comment them below. I'd be happy to also take some unbiased views at their technical analysis for you. So do keep in mind the Bitcoin dominance cycle. When Bitcoin dominance, what that means is that right now there's 60% overall money of in crypto is in Bitcoin. When this rotates into altcoins as it has before, the last 2 cycles, that is when we make really good money. And you want to sell on the way up. So if you're looking to invest, make sure you have price targets or a strategy so you're not holding forever and acting like the Dogecoin millionaire guy from last cycle, where he never sold and he hasn't been in the green until very recently. Let's just run through some of the stock indicators right now. So the S&P is still in the all-time highs. If we take a look at the daily, you can see a little downturn. I wouldn't worry unless it was really getting under the 100-day moving average. So any of these pumps, they're going to have pullbacks, but you want to see them just being bought up, and we'll see what happens. The VIX still relatively low, so nothing there to worry about too much. What I will say here is the percent of stocks above the 200-day moving average. It is at the 200-day moving average. It could come lower. You could draw a trend line here horizontally, and we might get to this 53 level, but this will give us room to run back up again. If it ever gets really low towards this trend line, then that would be an extremely good area to buy up. The other elephant in the room, the yield curve uninversion, typically 1.5 to 2 years from the uninversion is the bottom of the stock market. So that would put us out into 2026. What I will say is there's a couple of different factors this time. 1 being inflation, 2 being the amount of time that the yield curve has been inverted. This is a phenomenon that happens when the Fed is raising rates and the yield curve gets inverted. You can see here we're weighing the 10-year treasuries against the 2-year. Because it's been inverted longer, I would not be surprised if the bottom of the market was maybe 3 years down the road. Unemployment's still the same. Let's get into Bitcoin. And man, what a move we had here. So a couple of the indicators I use here, I'll just talk about the first one. This is a Fibonacci retracement. It's this tool right here. There's a couple ways you can draw it on log scale. I draw from the high to the low, and then if you were taking a look at price action in between, you keep your fib on log scale. But if you're looking at price targets, then you take your fib and you take it off log scale, which we did right here. Now, 1618 Fibonacci extension is at 102K, just a little over 100K. We also have the 2 double tops from Bitcoin in 2021 leading up here as well. And we also have this trend line that Bitcoin's been in love with since the bottom, leaning up here as well. They're all converging along this horizontal green line I drew. And what I did is I took a look at whenever the former all-time high was broken in the next cycle. On average, there's been about 300 days from that new all-time high to the next peak. Took the average from all the cycles before. So all signs are leading, at least right now, to Bitcoin being between the price it's at now. You can see the price at the right, 92K, up to 102K. We're already at that mark. And so I would not be surprised to see a local top here for Bitcoin. The other moving average, or indicator, that I use are moving averages. And these change based off your time frame, but we have the 20, 50, 100, and 200 moving average. Here we're on the weekly, and as you can see, we're extended well above that. So discounted times to buy are when we are at the 50-week moving average or below it. When assets get underneath the 50-week moving average, that's typically when people change their perspective that something is staying bullish to being bearish. All because something's bearish doesn't mean it isn't a good value time to buy. And what I like to say on this channel is if you are liking an asset so much, let's say you love Bitcoin, you're into the everything positive about Bitcoin, you just bought some Bitcoin and you're buying it at the literal all-time high. If you like Bitcoin enough to buy it up here, then you should love buying it down here if there was any sort of correction. So again, that means you're getting it at a discount. And just so you know, that's very likely to happen. If you are not going to buy Bitcoin or any asset, stock, whatever, when it's at a discount, then you should not have bought it to begin with. So we want to be smart here. We want to be patient. You don't want to act like retail dumb money, exit liquidity, where you're buying the tops. That is when most retail, your friends and family are going to be talking about this stuff and buying in. I literally have had almost half a dozen friends talk about Bitcoin out of the blue in this last week. And so that right there is also an indicator. If you're hearing random people, if you've been following Bitcoin, you've been taking a look at the charts and you're hearing random people all of a sudden bringing up Bitcoin, do be cautious. It usually has meant that a local top is within the near future. Let's take a look at, well, I have another indicator here. This is a buy-sell signal indicator. Clearly, we're still playing out a buy signal. So we have some other indicators to look at. One is the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. This one, when it gets light green, typically that means the move is getting extended. Now, this can happen. Here's a couple scenarios. This can happen where it gets extended, but it doesn't get into the red and sell off. It just gains momentum again, gains strength, and pumps again. But there are a lot of times when it gets light green or light red that is close to the bottom or the peak of the move, whether positive or negative. You can see there's been other moves right here. So we're getting up on the MACD, light green, and then the movement is down for a bit. So there could still be more of a move up as far as Bitcoin's concerned. So that's one of the indicators. Another indicator to use, and I do not recommend buying and selling off this. It's a relative strength index. On the weekly time frame, it's still peaking up. If this peaks down here and not close to this level, so if the RSI is peaking here, lower than this point, and the price is higher while the strength is lower, that's bearish divergence. That's not always a one-to-one indicator, meaning it doesn't mean that all of a sudden the bearish divergence is going to cause a sell-off right away. But when bearish divergence starts to grow in the RSI, then you do need to be increasingly cautious. But this hasn't peaked yet, so let's put that to the side just for a minute. I like to dollar cost average in, also not just based off the fibs, the moving averages, the buy signals, but also the stochastic RSI. When this flips positive from the bottom, blue above orange, and gets into the shaded area, it's usually not a bad time to buy. And yes, you're not going to get the very bottom. No indicator will give you the very bottom all the time on this sort of time frame. However, dollar cost average wise, the way I take a look at this, my mentality is getting a profit sandwich. Okay, so if you're buying crypto and you like the stock RSI flipping positive here, but you've also bought it here as well, I don't need to get 100% of the profits, and that's pretty much impossible to do. But if I'm looking at this as a profit sandwich, I am good with eating 60 to 80% of that profit sandwich. I don't need the bread at the top and the bottom of the sandwich. That's my perspective. And again, I'm trying to answer the essential question of, is now a good time to buy or not? What my strategies are. I could give a crap less about predictions. I have my own predictions. They are wrong oftentimes. And if we traded and invested based off predictions, we would lose money. So you do want to have a strategy that outweighs your predictions. We can theorize all we want, but again, have a strategy that means more than your predictions. Okay, so I've gone over my strategy with you guys. Now let's get into what the cycle's doing. We've talked about this being a convergence of many different trend lines, the 1618 fib. Again, I'll show you this one more time. The 1618 fib extension right up here at around 102K. We have the double top from 2021 leading there. We have the trend line Bitcoin's been in love with and the average amount of time from new all-time highs to peak. So I would not be surprised. And again, this goes with the inauguration dump, presidential pump, that maybe Bitcoin gets to that 100K level and then goes sideways and down for a little bit. The other part of that theory, I think it goes along in line with, and let me just show you, by the way, the 2618 target. 2618 would be around 155K for Bitcoin. That would mean Bitcoin would have around a $3 trillion market cap. Why do I like that 3 trillion number? Well, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, the largest stocks in the world, are all a little bit over 3 trillion. So if Bitcoin got up to 3 trillion, that would be, I think, a fair target for me. I'm not looking at the 3618, the 4236 area, the 210K Bitcoin. And the reason why is if we go back to prior cycles, and the rainbow chart kind of shows us this too, if we draw a fib for these recent cycles, each cycle loses strength each time. So we're drawing a fib from the high to the low, and you can see that, let's make sure our fib is off log scale. You can see that the high of Bitcoin, we got to scroll this down here, got between the 3618 and the 4236. If we go back in time to each cycle and do the same thing with the Fibonacci retracement, the strength of each consecutive peak. So if we did that for this one again, the strength or the height of the move gets less each time around. So you can see, I forget what it was. It's something like the 8618 or something stupid. We're not going to spend time going off that, but you can see that the strength of each move by the fib scale gets lower each time. So if Bitcoin, this is just my theory and the pattern from the rainbow chart, if Bitcoin got between the 3618 and the 4236 last time around, I expect Bitcoin to not get to that level. And so I would be eyeing a level that's lower, something like the 2618 at around 155K. Go over to the rainbow chart. We see this phenomena from the bottoms and the tops. The bottoms, what do you see? The first halving bottom was in the blue zone. The second halving bottom was in the teal zone, whatever you want to call it. The third halving bottom was in the light green zone, and the fourth halving, the recent one, was in the green zone. Inversely, from the tops, at least from this top here, we were above the max bubble territory here. We were in the max bubble territory. The last tops were in this reddish orange zone. So then I'm looking for the orange zone. And if we're in a 4-year cycle and we're going out later, Q4 of next year, where is the orange zone? That fourth orange box down. Again, this is just the pattern of it. I'm not saying this has to happen. And I hate patterns because I think it can, more often than not, when you're looking for patterns, lead you astray. So please don't base your investment strategy off this. However, we can't deny Bitcoin's been in this pattern from the bottoms and the tops. The Fibonacci retracement also shows us that Bitcoin is becoming less volatile and showing us diminished returns. That does not mean we can't make money, but it's not going to be the 5,000x multiples like in 2013. When you look at the orange box, you see that number, 146 to 186. What's within that range? Well, the 2618 Fibonacci log extension, okay? So that, and it might go above or below by 10, 20K. It really doesn't matter. That is the area I am looking for, me personally. But what matters more than that, in my opinion, because I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, I'm into Bitcoin mining stocks. I'm into specific altcoins. What I am watching is the Bitcoin dominance falling and tanking to, well, you can see the bottoms here. We have a couple trend lines. I'm going to do what Dr. 420 said not to do, draw a million trend lines. So we have the ascending trend line here and we have the horizontal one. I'm looking for Bitcoin dominance to do something like this horrible light blue drawing I did and get somewhere in the low 40%, whether it's 40, 43, whatever. And when that happens, at least in the last two cycles, and this only took, here in 2017, it took a month for Bitcoin dominance to fall over. And what this means again is that right now 61% of all money in crypto is in Bitcoin. When that money rotates out of Bitcoin into altcoins and mining stocks, which do act like altcoins, you will see those explode. If this is going to happen again, and if you pick the right mining stocks for Bitcoin or the right altcoins, that's a whole separate battle. You have to do your own research, but again, be cautious of the research because all of the research makes it sound great. One reason I stick with Bitcoin mining stocks is we can actually get some insider scoops and competitive advantage by looking at the balance sheet. There's some good Bitcoin mining stocks that have a positive ratio assets liabilities. So right now, Bitcoin dominance, for all we know, is still peaking. And you see we have this descending trend line here. And we have this horizontal trend line from the bottom. I was looking for Bitcoin dominance to, at minimum, get above 57.5%. It did that. Now I'm looking for around 62%. Why 62%? Why this line? Well, after the peak of Bitcoin dominance last cycle, we had the sideways action and then it went down. Where did the peak of the 21 cycle go to? Let's get rid of this. There's too much going on. It's like a 4-year-old drawn with crayons all over my screen. Where did the peak of this go? Well, after the first major Bitcoin dominance drop, it's where it went sideways, where it went up to. So I'm just taking a one-to-one comparison there. Again, we can draw a Fibonacci retracement from the top to the bottom, and we can say, all right, maybe, let's take this off log for a second. Maybe Bitcoin dominance gets up to 66%, whatever. All right, 62, 66%, doesn't matter. But what does matter, if we go to last time, is after Bitcoin dominance peaks, and this peaked, you can see the data at the bottom, September 2019. That's when the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing also bottomed. Okay. What happened was Bitcoin dominance, it formed a base, shot up one more time, and then we had alt season. What happened in 2017? Okay. Now we were coming from the top because most money is in Bitcoin. Altcoins were a new thing, formed a base, came up, boom, we had alt season. Alex Feinstein, where do you think Bitcoin will be by Monday? Let me answer your question. I'll come back to Bitcoin dominance. Where will it be by Monday? That is really hard to say. Right now, the move looks very extended. And if I add on the RSI, by the way, Alex, I take a look at things from a more macro perspective. I don't really look at things under the daily time frame, so you shouldn't trust me on predictions by Monday. But if we do have a little bit of a correction, I could see Bitcoin getting as low as 83K. If we go to lower time frames, which again, you should not trust me on, we're still making higher lows here. I could still see Bitcoin going up. I really could. Low wise in the immediate term, somewhere around 83, 84K. I would not doubt to see some resistance around 95, 96K. And this line right here is the double top Bitcoin top line from 2021. So that's in the immediate term. But again, you should not take my assessments as any sort of financial advice. Obviously, no matter who you are. Anyways, back to Bitcoin dominance. We have not actually peaked yet. If we throw on our moving averages again, there's a moving average Bitcoin dominance been in love with. You see this thin red line? That is the 20-week moving average. It loves it. The only time it came down was when the 200-week moving average came through. Actually, it hit it as resistance and then hit it as support. But we've had some positive golden crosses there, and we're getting the 200 under the 100. So we'll see what happens. Unless Bitcoin really gets under the 20-week moving average, I think Bitcoin dominance could still go up. And what that means is even if Bitcoin's going up, you're not going to see all the altcoins or many of the altcoins alt season really taking off. You might see an altcoin here or there, like Solana, like Doge most recently, all of a sudden pop off. With those, I don't think it's the worst idea to take some profits in some of those assets because to me, it's not alt season. And I'll show you a chart that's really been the best as far as finding local tops, and that has been this Tether dominance chart. And if we take a look at this, you're like, okay, what is Tether? Tether is a stable coin. 4.3% of all money in crypto is in Tether. It retains a value of around $1. When the Tether dominance has hit this trend line, it has signaled local tops, whether the very top in alt season, we had the mid-cycle top, the top before the COVID dump, we had the double top. Now look at how it stayed on that trend line for a while here when it was truly alt season. We had the pre-halving peak, and now we are hitting it again. Okay, so Tether dominance has called these tops. Where are those again? If we are looking at this chart, this top right here, this mid-cycle top, the top before COVID. Again, a lot of comparisons are being made to that right now. The double top, the mid-cycle top, and where we are right now. We are in this yellow zone, yellow color band, so do be careful. I don't think this is the best time to buy, in my opinion. I think it is worth being patient. Not that Bitcoin might go higher, not that a random meme coin, shitcoin, altcoin might take off, but I cannot convincingly say that, because all altcoins minus stocks, maybe they're up 20% on average around the crypto world, that there isn't a pullback likely. So I think this is showing us that it is possible this is another local top. If we were to go and take a look at that 2019 top before COVID, and I'm not saying we are going to have a COVID crash, a black swan event, though it would be kind of ironic if that did happen. Let's take a look at what happened here in 2019. We had that mid-cycle top, first Fed rate cuts, okay? Our Fed rate cuts were later, but what happened? It broke this downtrend and came back under. There is an indicator I really like for looking at this. It's called the Hall Sweet indicator. I don't look at this too much, but on the weekly, when Bitcoin gets under this band, it's typically bearish, but when it gets above, usually it's bullish. Now here is sort of a fake out move, got back in that channel, and then when it hit the lower end of the channel, boom, blast it off, okay? If we are to draw a one-to-one comparison, and again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if we are, again, if we are talking about Bitcoin dominance needing some time to form a base and another peak, if we are going to have an inauguration half a year sideways down action, if that's to happen, okay, let's say Bitcoin hits around that 100K area I've been talking about, the 1618 fib extension, and then it gets back under this band and into the channel. Well, where's the lower end of the channel? Somewhere around 50K. I'm telling you this right now. If Bitcoin, and let's put our fib on log scale, because if we're looking at prices between the macro high and low, if Bitcoin gets anywhere near this 50K number to even, I'll just take a look at where a lot of this price is in here in the middle, 60K. If Bitcoin gets back to 50, 60K, I guarantee you many altcoins are going to have a major sell-off. If that happens, and if we are anything like the last cycle, I think that could very well be the hard landing and the bottom, the last bottom before the true 4-year cycle takes off, okay? But again, there's no guarantees in this. I am only making that assessment based off what has happened before. So I hope you guys understand what I've been sharing with you today. We have the 4-year cycle with the tops in Q4, all right? We have this phenomena where we pump into the the inauguration, then down and sideways. I think that fits in pretty nicely with a couple things that have happened before. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. But again, for me, it doesn't really matter. I have a strategy of when to buy, and regardless of if my prediction comes true, I still have areas to buy. And if you're asking yourself, well, what are your areas to buy? Okay, let's just take, for example, Ethereum. Let's say I'm buying Ethereum, which I don't have any, but I'm just going to make that argument. Okay, we have this trend line here. Great. If Ethereum's near that trend line, I'd say, okay, I'd buy it next time it's there. I've talked about it here, how Ethereum would be a good value time to buy. If it's coming down to these fib levels, okay, right here, not at a discount, if it comes back down to the 618 fib level around 2,500, the trend line, wherever it is, or the 200 week moving average, lower fibs, those are all discounted levels where I would increase my entry into Ethereum. I would also take a look at, again, I'm sharing my strategy with you. It's not perfect by any means, but overall I make good money with it. If the stochastic RSI is rolled over, starting to go back up into the shaded area, blue above orange, I'm taking a look at all those different factors of when I be taking a look to dollar cost average in. Those are factors I look at to DCA. Again, a lot of times, especially with stocks or even crypto, it can take a while to see it pay off. Overall, for me, it has paid off. I'll just share with you this last year, my stock portfolio has gone up between 60 to 70%. The year before, it was around 40 to 50%. They say if you can beat the S&P, that's really good and rare. The S&P average is somewhere around 10 to 20%. So I feel pretty good with those profits. And that's just stocks. With crypto, oftentimes you're playing the long game and you're waiting for that alt season, that dominant cycle to sell off. So that's what I'm looking for as far as that's concerned. If you have any Bitcoin mining stocks or cryptos you'd like for me to take a look at, some TA, let me know in the comments below. I'll be taking a look at some mining stocks here as well, and some of the cryptos I like. Let's take a look at Chainlink. That is one I like a lot, and I do have a position in. So good accumulation back here, shot up, hit this fib, the 618. I'm going to just share with you out loud how I think, so you guys can hear my process for buying and selling crypto. Right now, it's just been accumulation. I'm still waiting for alt season. Came down to the 200 moving average, came down to this fib level. Great discounted areas to buy when it's down at the 382 or lower. And again, I'm going to say, if you like an asset so much you're buying it here, you should love buying it at a discount here. Okay, so don't give up if your asset sells off. If you liked it enough, there's a reason for it. I'm not saying blindly throw money at something. You have to research it enough to really believe in it at a discount. And it's always possible in the world of crypto, even likely, that maybe you just bought a piece of crap project that's never going to amount to anything. So do have conviction in what you're looking into, okay? That's why I stick with medium to large caps, because they usually do better. They're not going to 100x like some of the meme coin casinos on Solana, but I do feel safer with the gains, and overall that has worked out for me. Right now it's broken out of this wedge, which is great. I would expect it to hit this 0.5 fib. And if it comes back down to the 382, anywhere near the low $12, I think that's good DCA range. Ooh, we have a couple comments. Andres, very good analysis. Thank you. Thank you for the nice comment. Appreciate you saying that. Cedric Tab. Oh, he's hitting the Solana casino. Check out Toad on Solana. Let's check out Toad on Solana. My God. I do not buy anything on Solana, by the way. That is a casino. Is that Toad or Todd? Toad. All right. Toady meme coin. Oh God. Is this the right one? There's Acid Toad. By the way, I have some friends who buy this bullshit. Do you ever say out loud what you're doing with your money? Like, I am buying Toad on Solana. Okay, like you say it out loud, you realize how much of a piece of crap it is. But again, I'm reserving my bias. If you make a lot of money off of it, good for you. All right, let's take a look at Toad. Anything that's very new, I do not like, because you don't get the insider information as far as good technical analysis. So IPOs that are less than 2 years old, even cryptos, it is a educated gamble at best. Okay, we have this fib high to low. It's coming back up to the 236. Here's what I don't like. We're still forming lower lows, lower highs. There's nothing to say that this can't go lower. We have not seen a macro-ish, if you even call that, higher low being made. So I would wait. I would be patient. And again, these Solana casino coins, they can 100x out of nowhere. Yes, that is not the game I play. But if this comes back down again after some time, if it makes another move and forms a higher low, I would feel better about that. I've showed you some of the indicators I used before. This buy sell signal, the 1020 MA crossover with Heikin-Ashi signals is one I like. We don't have a weekly buy signal. It would show in the daily, but not the weekly. If you're looking for more of a confirming indicator, this is one I use. You're not going to see as much profits, but it is more, it does reduce the risk. I use this in bear markets, UT bot alerts. I wait for a buy signal. This thing is only sold off. So I'm sorry, Cedric. I think this one is a piece of crap. So hate to break it to you. I would not be endorsing anyone to buy anything on Solana. So there are many other channels that talk about the Solana casino. Mine is probably not the best one. I do have a bias against it. I do think you're taking a very high risk. My apologies if that's not the answer you're looking for, but I am going to be honest about all those things. Let's take a look through some other major altcoins. We have Fetch. It has AI in the name, so you know it's going to do great just because it mentions AI. It doesn't matter if it has utility or not. But what's happening with Fetch? Came down to the 100 moving average, the former all-time high. It has a nice base, and because it's still technically bullish, let's put on our buy-sell signal. We have a weekly buy signal on Fetch. So I think that's good. Again, with some of these altcoins, you do have to watch Bitcoin first. If Bitcoin is local topish, as I showed you on the tether dominance chart, how when it hits this trend line that has been local tops, you do have to be extra careful, because if we are going to sell off, the altcoins are going to feel that way more. So I rather watch. I have my list of altcoins. This is me. And I watch them. I look at them for a minute or two every week and ask myself, is now a good time to buy or not? I've showed you the indicators I look for. The way Bitcoin is, I am not buying anything. I'm pulling my money. I have a budget, by the way, and I encourage you guys to, where you're not spending more than you can afford to lose. If the value is too overbought, I do not have to spend my monthly investment budget in the stocks or crypto. I wait until the right time and I pull that money. So let's say I have $1,000 budget. Well, if I don't spend it this month, next month I have $2,000. And if I get a really good value, time to buy, I feel okay putting in a little bit more than I have before. So I look for those discounts and those deals. I've been patiently playing the long game the last 2-3 years, and overall, right now, it's still paying off. ICP, people have talked to me about this before. I got to tell you, it's one of those projects that seems like it could do, 10x or absolutely nothing. I don't think it's a bad area to DCA. Of course, these are all a risk. We have Jasmy. Right, it's been hanging at the 382 as a buy signal. I don't think it's the worst area. It could get lower to this 18 or 1.8 cent mark. But again, you're pinching pennies there, so I don't think that's that bad. IMX, another altcoin I really like, has a doji, means undecided, couldn't get above those moving averages, the 100 and the 50, battle in the 0.5. So right here, I don't think these are bad values for the altcoins. Let's get into the Bitcoin mining stocks. I love my Bitcoin mining stocks. And, before I do this, I know you're watching. I have a follower on here, a subscriber, that loves Doge. I hope you have sold your Doge. And we have talked. Any of you have been watching my channel, you can confirm this. We've been talking about the 786 as an area, a profit-taking target here at around 41, 42 cents. We've been talking about that for forever. It hit that mark. I hope that if that was part of your plan, that you took some profits there. Again, I'm not saying Doge can't go higher, but I'm seeing a lot of stupidity out there. People talking about Doge going to $5, $10. Guys, if you're reading this crap, here's why you want to be cautious. And if you're new to crypto, this might piss you off, but I encourage you to take a deep breath and have an unbiased perspective, okay? Remove your emotions. Doge has a market cap of $55 billion, almost 56. If we're talking about Doge, even doing a 10x and going to $3.80, a 10x would mean it would have a $558 billion market cap. That would be above most 99% of the stocks out there. People have talked about it going even higher. Doge to $10, stuff like that. That would be somewhere around a 30x. Okay, in a 30x, you're taking a look at Doge being worth something like $1.5 trillion. I'm sorry, but that's highly unlikely. When you have the top stocks in the world being worth $1 to $3 trillion, it's not likely for the altcoins to get there. Now, if it's something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, okay, I can see that. Solana, I could see Solana getting to that $500 billion mark. It's probably going to be the top altcoin this cycle, okay? I'm not denying that you can't make money, but do keep it in perspective. Just take a look. You can Google this. Just type XRP 10,000. You will see all these stupid videos talking about XRP being worth 10,000 times more than what it is now. And if that were true, it would have a $500 trillion market cap. XRP is not going to be worth 5 times more than the global GDP. That is completely stupid and asinine. Again, I know that's going to piss some people off, but I'm just being real with you. I'm not one of those channels that's just going to make these unbelievable price targets to get followers and to farm and views. I'm going to be honest with you and give you realistic price targets, because what happens is for 90+% of retail, when they believe those ridiculous prices, they buy in at decent prices, but then they don't take profits and they're left holding the bag. They buy in near the top, okay, they get XRP at $1, and then they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and they never hit those price targets. I do not want to see you guys losing money when you're believing this nonsense, waiting for these prices to happen that never will. So I'm trying to give you conservative, realistic price targets. And if it's only a 5X, that's fine. But again, you have to have a realistic approach. If you're getting that cult-like thinking and you're saying, well, screw you, XRP is going to be worth 500 trillion and all these people are saying it's going to do all these amazing things. All right, I can't save you. I'm sorry. So just keep that in perspective. Again, you need to be unbiased with this stuff. What I talked about with Doge going to this 41 cent level, we drew a fib from the high to the low. We recognize 786 is at that point, 41, 42 cents. And we talked about how altcoins that did really good in 2017, like XRP, didn't get above the 786 fib in 2021. I'll show you that really quick right now. And this is very possible for many altcoins. So XRP, again, we draw this fib from the high to the low. The 786 is at around $1.60. Where did XRP get to? The 786. Yeah, it got a little bit higher, but again, you can see clearly the 786 right there. Okay, the 786 for XRP this time around is at about $1.31. Okay, that is a price target I'm looking at. I will not change my perspective on the old altcoins getting above that level unless they actually break above, close above, and are challenging former all-time highs. And part of my perspective or strategy on older altcoins is I take out, this is me, not you, not financial advice. I take out my return on investment, my ROI, and then I'm playing with house money. Then if things do turn around, cool, I can take profits at whatever price targets I have, and you have to set your own price targets. Again, I showed you how to take a look at that with fibs. You take your fib off log scale. Okay, let's say XRP breaks above that 786 all-time highs. Then you could take a look at, okay, the 1618 about $3. That'd be a good price target for XRP. Okay, a little bit above a 3X. Nothing wrong with that from right here. But again, would I be buying XRP right here? No, I wouldn't be buying a lot of altcoins or crypto because we are at yearly highs. Simple question you can ask yourself is the price within the range of the yearly high or the yearly low? If it's within the range of the yearly high, you're not buying it at a discount. It's more likely you are not going to see profits for longer, and you have to be more patient, okay? Again, that's what retail does. They hear the good news, they FOMO into the hype when it's not a good time to buy. I digress. Let me get to the Bitcoin mining stocks. Love my Bitcoin mining stocks. We're still in this lower high wedge channel, if you will, thingy. And we have the 618 right here. We haven't closed above. We've wicked, but I would not doubt if you like Marathon Digital Holdings. Okay, this got to a market cap between 20 and 30 billion last time. I want to say 25 billion was its market cap. Again, we're being conservative. That'd be a 7x from right here. Sorry, not a 7x. If it was around 25 billion, that would be a 4x. My apologies. So if you believe it can 4x from right here, just a return to an all-time high, that's great. If you double $1,000 10 times straight, that's $1 million. So if you're getting above a 2x or you have those targets, that's really good, guys. Again, we hear these stories of 20x, 50x wins. do make sure you take profits, because if you don't, you can see how quickly, once the run is done, once Bitcoin dominance is done tanking, how quickly those profits can fall off by like 90 some percent at times. Let's take a look at this. 96%. So do take profits, set your price targets. We're still in this range. If Mara comes back down to this $16, $17 range, I would be dollar cost averaging. And again, right now, still very rich. Caspa, I have a comment. Thank you for your comment. Quarter crawler, Caspa. Let's take a look at this one. I have taken a look at Caspa before. I've heard people talking about it. Recently had this doji weekly buy signal. You can see that the candle held, and right now it's still holding above the 50-week moving average. We're going to have to take a look at this on the daily. Again, I like assets we can take a look at on the weekly perspective, more of a competitive advantage. Let's draw our fib as well as we can from the high to the low. And what's going on here? Okay, at least on the daily, let's zoom way in. Okay, on the daily, okay, we have a clear picture of what can happen. Again, this is daily time frame, not weekly. We have this doji, no confirmed daily buy signal. We just had a red daily sell signal here. That's the red dot. Came down to this 382 fib. Okay, the price is between these moving averages, the 50, and it's under the 100 and 200. Here it looks like you formed a nice bottom. You have a higher low, made a move up, got rejected. I like that it's at the 382. I wouldn't, if you really love Caspa, I would not hate it here. You can confirm and wait for confirmation of the buy signal. Again, this is one of the indicators I use right here. And I do look through Heikinashi candles as well. But you want to see, if you are buying it here at a discount at the 50-day moving average at the 382, you want to see it get above the 0.5 fib and these moving averages, the 100 and the 200. This is going to offer a decent amount of resistance. But once it gets through, the next battle, okay, is getting to this 618. And as you can see, it's wicked off it and then bounced down. But I do believe you are in better value range there with Caspa. Let's take a look at Riot. Come on, mouse. All right, Riot platforms. All right, let's zoom out to the weekly. And weekly, we've been in this channel. And this is what it looks like for a lot of altcoins and miners that have done well. They're at the top of this channel. They have resistance. Again, we have Tether dominance forming a bottom on that trend line that usually signals local tops. Unless we are to push further to the cycle peak, which I do not quite believe we are at. I could be wrong, but I don't believe we're there quite yet. We are at this resistance here. So for Riot, for me, discount territory starts at the 382 at around $11 down to here. If you get Riot, if Riot's one you're watching, and it's one I like, I have some Riot. If it comes anywhere within this $6 to $11 range, I'm picking some up. Okay. Right now, we're at the upper end of this channel. I'm not going to be buying it. Is it possible it breaks out? Sure. But again, I'm not buying any of these. I'm willing to be patient. And guys, again, make your list, do your research, and once a week, have a small list, something like 5 to 10 stocks, cryptos, whatever. Just check 1 minute per stock or crypto once a week. That's less than 10 minutes if you have 10 or less. And just look, you can do these indicators just like I'm doing, and I'll show you how to do them as well. But you can see, okay, are they expensive? Are they at a discount? And again, if you're buying it here, then you should love buying it here, because then you're getting more of a discount. And if you're not going to buy it here, you should have never bought it to begin with. I'm going to keep saying that, because I just talked to some friends that are literally buying in. I tried talking them out of it, but they're literally buying in right now. And I know they'll rub it in my face if Bitcoin gets 100K, and that's fine. I want them to make money, but I do know they're taking on more of a risk. And I hate to see good people lose money. All right, we have CleanSpark, good mining stock. Right here, good accumulation. If it did come back down to this low $13, high $12 area, good supports right here, 786, all these moving averages, trend line. If it was between $12.60 and $10, I would pick some up. But right now, kind of rich. But if you were buying back here and you're dollar cost averaging in, okay, you are buying at the peak of a move right here. But if you bought in here and you're like, what, screw it, I'll buy more here. I'd understand that logic. Cypher is one I really like. I really like the balance sheet and research I did into it. Cypher moving into this upward channel. I am expecting some sort of resistance here, at least waiting to see some resistance somewhere between the upper end of this channel and here. But if it gets back down to this 618 or the lower end of this channel, if Cypher gets to the $3 to mid $4 range, this is my personal area of when to buy. Quarter crawler, thanks. You're welcome. Happy to help. So that's what I'm looking for with Cypher. By the way, my Doge viewer, I'm sorry, I think, what was your name? Something like Sweet Potato. I'm probably butchering your name. Please comment below if you watch this. Did you take profits on Doge? How are you feeling right now? I hope you're doing well. Your price target was hit. I hope you were able to take profits. I love seeing success stories from my subscribers. Okay. Love to see you guys win. Okay. I want all of you to win. TerraWolf, my God. This one, I was lucky enough to be getting in down here at the 236. And when it broke out, I was feeling good. I was waiting for it to maybe come back down here, but I had a nice bounce off the 382. And now look at it. Okay. We'll see if it can get above the 618. But right now, TerraWolf looking very bullish. If it does get rejected, then the start of discounted buys for Wolf would be around $5. I hope you guys, I'm just trying to share out loud what I look for as far as mining stocks or cryptos that I like and when I would enter in. Again, if I'm going to buy TerraWolf here, I would be buying more here. Okay. So $5, we have the 200 week moving average, the 0.5 fib. We have other things down here. If it was $5 left, I think it's, or less, I think it's a good discount. Let's take a look at a couple more. Any more altcoins out there? I will be ending the video somewhat soon. Bit Digital could go higher if it was at the 0.5 or lower. 420. Oh, it's at 420 right now. So it has come down. Okay. If it gets to this 416 level, that's where the 0.5 fib is. You're pinching pennies right now. So if you did buy, I wouldn't discount it as far as being a bad move or anything. But if it got down, especially to the $2.50 to $3 range, I think that's pretty good for Bit Digital, Bit Farms. And don't just chase all because something's looking at more of a discount. It's at more of a discount for a reason. Not as many people are buying into it. So you want to buy into something that you truly believe in before the big moves happen. Bit Farms, okay, it's got to get over this 618 fib, this trend line, big buy signal on the daily. Right now, it has come down to this 225 mark. I don't hate it at this level. Big move up, but it has come down to earth a little bit. So I think it's within the range, high $1 to where it is now. I don't hate Bit Farms as a place to look for some dollar cost averaging. Not the worst, really. Iris coming up. If it gets low to the 618 at around high $7, low $9, I think it's pretty good. May get some, we'll see if it gets rejected off the 76 like it did before, or if it can blast through. Any others? We have cores. I'll end with cores. Core Scientific. Core Scientific, man, someone talked about it back here. I'm very skeptical on cores. It's a new mining stock. I do think we don't have as competitive of an advantage with something like cores. And again, I'll keep saying this. As far as new IPOs, new cryptos, here's why I stay away from them. Take a look at Cypher. I love Cypher, but take a look last time. It came out December 2020. You know what was happening in December 2020? Bitcoin was breaking the all-time highs for 2017. Was that around $10? Got up to $15. And then what happened? Fell 99% to 40 cents. Be great if you bought it down there. Sure. You would have already had over a 10x or whatever down here. But just so you know, when new stuff comes out, you're taking a big risk. I don't touch it. Alpha Perez, great stuff, man. Appreciate your channel. Appreciate you commenting. Thank you all of you guys and gals for commenting nice things. I want to offer you true, honest, conservative, semi-bullish perspective. I try to throw ego out the window as much as possible. And again, I try to take a look at emotions as indicators. And we want to be cautious when there's greed. There's a lot of green right now. So recapping. We are high into greed. Be cautious. Okay. Showed you this chart. On average, we pump into the inauguration, then go sideways down, and then pump second half of the first year of the presidency. Very bullish time, first year of the presidency. Even with these charts, the Fed rate cuts, we're averaging 25 basis points. It's still very likely 2025 is going to be very positive. And it could lead us to having one of these cycle tops as we get into the orange zones. I think those charts, those indicators, goes along with what has happened before, that we can possibly, see some form of a top coming soon after. Okay, we had our mid-cycle top. We're having our breakout top. Last time we had the COVID crash. I'm looking to see a top somewhere around this 100K area, and then maybe sideways down for a while, and then the true top to come after. I'm looking at this as somewhat like this 2013 cycle. We're going to get that early top. It's going to go down. People are going to freak out. They're going to say there's no alt season. Everything sucks. And then boom, it takes off. So after this next move finishes and starts to correct, I am looking at a bottom formation, and we'll see if I get it or not. I don't know. And then boom, we get the true alt season, the true top. Because Tether dominance is at its local top trend line. Okay, we talked about this. It hits this trend line when we are at a local top. We had our mid-cycle top, like before. We have our top before. What happened after that was COVID. We don't have that this time around. So we might not get as big of a correction, but if we do get a 30 to 50% correction, wouldn't you think that would shoo away most of retail that it's been holding, and they would be like, whatever, the cycle's done, and then the cycle top pops off? I think it makes too much sense. Bitcoin dominance. I never took a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. Sorry, let me do that in a second. Here we go. Bitcoin dominance. Again, last time it peaked, September 2019. You see the date at the bottom. We didn't have the top in alt season until like a year and a half later. We still had the form of base, come back up, last peak, crash. Okay, 2017, still the form of base, peak up one last time, crash. And that's when alt season happens, when you get this rotation from Bitcoin money into altcoins. And just think of it this way. People are saying, oh, alt season's going to suck. It's not going to be as strong this time around. Guys, last time around, Bitcoin was at 65K. This time, it might have a market cap around $3 trillion. Okay, so if that happens, then alts are going to do very well. ETH Bitcoin pairing. Again, last time, where did ETH Bitcoin bottom? Look at that, September 2019. We have not for sure bottomed yet. It is still going down. We do not have confirmation with Ethereum Bitcoin pairing or with Bitcoin dominance topping. Ethereum Bitcoin, the pairing, bottomed when Bitcoin dominance topped. We do not have confirmation Bitcoin dominance topped. We do not have confirmation Ethereum Bitcoin bottom. Okay, so we could still be a year or so away. If the top came later next year, 2026, a lot of people aren't going to have the patience for that. Again, I'm ready for that. This is just this week. We are still making a low. And you can see here, when Ethereum Bitcoin got under that 200-week moving average, okay, we have to get above these moving averages. Let's take a look at last time. What happened last time for us to know we were truly getting confirmation going up? Well, we have the 20-week moving average. Once it really got above these 20-week moving averages, you have the two red lines. One's probably the EMA, one's probably the SMA. Once it got above those and made the 20-week moving averages into support, then we were truly on our way up. And again, we know where the top was, or alt season, it was up here, April, May 21. That's when the move was over. So look for the 20-week moving average. These red lines, these need to be made into support. That has not happened yet. Dr. 420, good seeing you. I have 6.4 thousand of Wolf at $140. F yeah. You go, man. I'm happy for you. I hope you are feeling really good right now. And Dr. 420, you set your price targets, your profit-taking targets, wherever you will. That is awesome. Who knows how high TeraWolf could go? Again, if you're taking a look, let's go over to Wolf. If you're just taking a look at market cap, last time around, stuff like Mara got to 10 times what this is. If TeraWolf gets to somewhere in the 20 to 30 billion range, you're talking about TeraWolf doing another 10x from here. And if you bought at $140, you bought it like four times less, you're talking about getting a 40x if things work out. That would be awesome. But again, set your profit targets. I'm not saying, just hold on, balls to the walls until you hit whatever profit, fibs or whatever those are. But that is great to see. $1.40. Where was $1.40? Right here at this trend line and the 236 fib. I am very happy for you. Love to see it. And again, we might see some, corrections, and you want to see these moving averages and fibs hold. But if they do, if you like TeraWolf, could be some good areas to buy. There's something else I wanted to look at. Oh, before I forget, last thing. Someone commented in one of my last videos this week. They talked about, can you talk about the pi cycle? I want to talk about the pi cycle. We have to turn these moving averages down a little bit. This is triggered before. No guarantee it's going to trigger again. What is the pi cycle indicator? Well, we can go back in time. You can clearly see it calls the tops, calls the bottoms. You're like, oh my God, this is the greatest indicator ever. I'm going to make 100% profits. I'll know exactly when to buy and sell, okay? No guarantee this will continue to trigger. Called the 2017 top, called the 2018 bottom. Great, cool. Called the 2021 alt season cycle top. It did go higher here. Called the bottom here. Now, I truly believe this was the bottom, but we had a 9-10% correction here because why? There was a black swan event at the bottom. 9-10% is a good area to catch fake outs. We had that fake out black swan event at the bottom. If you bought in here, do you really care if you got Bitcoin at 19K or 16K right now? No, you don't give a shit. Okay. So I remember people arguing back here. Oh, this is the bottom. This is the bottom. Who gives a crap? If you're trading, leverage, whatever, all right, then you care. I don't play that. I spot buy. Okay. I wait for the cycle tops. I wait. I'm willing to be patient. It's way more fun to be patient. And let's be honest. A lot of us retail investors don't have the emotional control to be traders. I know this about myself. That is why I don't trade. I invest/trade vest. Okay. You got to recognize your weaknesses, be honest about them. Because I know that's a weakness of mine, I want to enjoy myself in making profits. I enjoy being patient. It's part of my job in the field of psychology. Okay. So if we get the pi cycle, well, you'll see what happens here. It gets above this moving average and it gets above pretty high and then triggers after being above it. Where's the moving average right now? Look at this. It's at 123, 125K. All right. Again, no guarantees this triggers again, especially when Bitcoin's less volatile each time around. So we're talking about Bitcoin getting above the 1618. Okay. Where's that next fib? We talked about this. The 2618. Let me ask you this. If Bitcoin gets to the 2618 at 155K, will it trigger a pi cycle top? I don't think it will. And if that top does happen within here and no pi cycle tops triggering, there's going to be a lot of people waiting and not taking profits. Again, I'm not concerned with this indicator as much as what I'm truly watching for is Bitcoin dominance tanking under 50%, the mid 40s to the low 40s. If that happens, I'm out. I don't need a pi cycle indicator. If my profit target areas get hit on the altcoins and mining stocks I'm invested into, I'm out. Okay. You don't need all these perfect things to happen, and you don't need to sell the exact top. So please set a plan, literally write out what your plan is so you can think with your frontal lobe, your thinking brain, the last part of your brain to fully develop by your mid 20s. And you're not thinking with your emotion brain. Where if, you have Ethereum, let's say you look at the fibs. Okay. This is you talking now. You thinking, you're like, okay, I'm going to do what this market psychology guy says, and I'm going to wait for Ethereum to get to this 3618 fib. Cool. 15K. I'm going to wait for that. It's going to 5X. It's going to be worth, I don't know, 1.6 trillion, something like that. I'm going to take profits here. Okay, cool. That's your plan. What are you going to do if that never happens and it only gets here? So you need a plan to write out. You need to write out contingencies, what you're going to do if it only gets to the 2618 or somewhere between here. Let's say Ethereum only tops out at 10K. If it does, I don't know, but you need to have a plan on what you're going to do in those moments. So you're not left holding the bags, because once the cycle's done, again, we fall off a cliff. So it's better to take profits into there than not take any profits at all. So do set your price targets, how much you're wanting to withdraw, because as we go up here, if you're not taking profits and you're left holding a bag, it really sucks. It really does suck. Think of that Dogecoin millionaire guy. Yes, he's feeling great right now, but he could have made a few $1,000,000 and didn't because he thought it was going to be going up forever. You can't invest and trade vest based off your emotion, thinking the stuff's just going to continue to go up to unrealistic price targets. Please set your price targets. And again, whatever yours are yours. I'm not going to tell you they're right or wrong. If you want to believe XRP is going to 10K, good luck. I hope it works out for you. It's probably not going to, but have contingency plans just in case it doesn't happen. Write down right now what you're going to do, because in that time of euphoria, when everything's busting out, if we get another cycle top like we did these times, in those times of euphoria and extreme greed, it is hard to think rationally. Make yourself a plan to think rationally so the emotion doesn't take over. I cannot explain this or emphasize that enough. I have friends that they bought the tops here. They were excited and they've been holding on until recently. And they're like, well, Bitcoin's going to 500K. Okay, I hope it does for them. I don't think it will. Maybe it will. I'm happy to be wrong. But if it doesn't, that's going to really suck for them to wait all this time and then not see their patience pay off. Please set price targets and use emotion as an indicator like a true market psychologist would. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for watching, commenting. We had a dozen viewers today. Hope you're all doing well. Love to see that some of you are making good profits. We had Dr. 420 well in the profits with his Terrawolf. That's fantastic. I'm happy for you, man. And we also have, sorry, I forget the other viewer's name. He's very consistent in the videos commenting, who has Doge. He was targeting 42 cents. That target hit. I hope he's doing well. Hope he's doing well, enjoying those profits. Love to see those stories. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be patient. Have a plan, follow your plan, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Hope you find this channel to be helpful. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.